Bihari Ram Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Janavallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jayo Yashodanandana Jayo Brajajanaranjana Jayo Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Jayo Yamunatira Vanachari Jayo Kunja Bihari Yamunatira Jayo Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Yamunatira Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Shri Shri Radha Madhava ki jai, Shri Shri Gaura Nitai ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we'll be reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, chapter 15, text 6 and 7. Can you repeat louder, Prabhu? Uh-huh. Oh, yes, Prabhu. So text 7. Sorry, excuse me. 6, yes. Yes. Ye tvanyena bhavena. No. Yeah. Ye tvanyena bhavena bhavayanti atma bhavanam atmani protabhuvanam param sadasanatmakam. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. O Lord, all these planets exist within yourself, and all the living entities are generated from you. Therefore, you are the cause of this universe, and anyone who meditates upon you without deviation attains devotional service. So kindly repeat after me, text 7. Tesham supakva yoganam. Tesham supakva yoganam. Jita shvasendriyatmanam. Jita shvasendriyatmanam. Labda yushman prasadanam. Labda yushman prasadanam. Nakutaschet parabhavaham. Nakutaschet parabhavaham. Tesham supakva yoganam. Jita shvasendriyatmanam. Labdha yushmad prasadanam. Nakutaschet parabhavaham. Mataji. Tesham, of them, supakva yoganam, who are mature mystics, jita, controlled, shvasa, breath, indriya, the senses, atmanam, the mind, labdha, attained, yushmat, your, prasadhanam, mercy, na, not, kutaschit, anywhere. Parabhavaham, defeat. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. There is no defeat in this material world for persons who control the mind and senses by controlling the breathing process, and who are therefore experienced mature mystics. This is because by such perfection in yoga they have attained your mercy. Purport. The purpose of yogi performances is explained here. It is said that an experienced mystic attains full control of the senses and the mind by controlling the breathing process. Therefore, controlling the breathing process is not the ultimate aim of yoga. The real purpose of yogi performances is to control the mind and the senses. Anyone who has such control is to be understood to be an experienced, mature mystic yogi. It is indicated herein that a yogi who has control over the mind and senses has the actual benediction of the Lord, and he has no fear. In other words, one cannot attain the mercy and benediction of the Supreme Lord until one is able to control the mind and the senses. This is actually possible when one fully engages in Krishna consciousness. A person whose senses and mind are always engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord has no possibility of engaging in material activities. The devotees of the Lord are not defeated anywhere in the universe. It is stated, Narayana para sarve. One who is Narayana para, or a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is not afraid anywhere, whether he is sent to hell or promoted to heaven. Bhagavatam 6:17-28. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So by the mercy of Shri Gauranitai, we will try to speak on this wonderful topic of Srimad Bhagavatam, and by all mercy and blessings of Assembled Vaishnavas, especially our dear Maharaj, all Assembled Vaishnavas, Srila Prabhupada disciples, because Lord Chaitanya himself is saying that Srimad Bhagavatam needs to be here in the association of great advanced Vaishnavas. Sajati Ashaya Snigde Srimad Bhagavatarthanam Rasikai Swaha Sajati Ashaya Snigde Sadhu Sange Svato Sware. that we should relish the meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavat Artha, Asvadanam, to relish the meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam in association of highly elevated Rasika Bhaktas who are like-minded and who are higher in their spiritual realization than us, Sajati Asha Snigdha. Lord Chaitanya used to say that there is Sajatiya and Vijatiya Bhaktas, Sajatiya who are like-minded insiders within his inner circle of devotees, and there are outsiders, Vijatiya, who doesn't have similar mentality. So in association of like-minded devotees who have affection for Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, the Lordship Shri Radha Krishna, the Srimad Bhagavatam should be here. And Snigdha means those who have affection for Krishna. So that is real Sadhu Sangha. When we speak about Sadhu Sangha, is the association of those who have affection for Krishna. So we always look for the higher association. All devotees are sadhus, however, there is those who are elevated than us always, so we should look for those who have that affection for Krishna. So Lord Chaitanya came actually to give these teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam among all Vedic literatures. He personally said, Shri Bhagava Rasa Tattva Prachara Krishna Tulya Bhagavata Janaila Samsara. That he have come to promote the mellows of devotional service described in Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna Tulya Bhagavata, because Srimad Bhagavatam is not different from Krishna himself. Because Srimad Bhagavatam are the thoughts of Krishna. One verse in Srimad Bhagavatam specifically describes that this scripture is are the thoughts of Krishna himself. Therefore, Krishna Tulya Bhagavata, the Shabda Brahman, which is not different from Para Brahman. And Janaila Samsara is liberating, freeing the living beings, Janas, from cycle of birth and death by giving them the mellows of devotional service. Because if someone doesn't taste the mellows of devotional service, Krishna Bhakti Rasabhavita Mati, he is not able to develop his transcendental body, Siddha Swarup, and in that way be liberated from miseries of material world. So Lord Chaitanya is especially coming to give this Srimad Bhagavatam among all Vedic literature. And we see that in Srimad Bhagavatam itself, Nigama Kalpataror Galitam Palam Shukamukad Amrita Drava Samyutam Pibata Bhagavadrasamalayam Muhuraho Rasika Bhuvi Bhavukaham. And this verse is full of different meanings, and definitely we are not able to explain all those meanings. However, it is saying that mature fruit, the mango, ripened fruit of Vedic literatures, Nigama, is now given in the form which is suitable for Rasikas and Bhavukas. Rasikas are those who are experiencing Prema Rasa, the love of Godhead in different mellows, and Bhavukas are those who are on the stage of Bhava Bhakti. So I personally don't have any qualification to speak on topics like this. However, by the potency of Guru Parampara, we are trying to convey the message as it is. So the Nigama is Niyatang Gamyate iti Nigama. What is received in tradition, Gamyate to means to receive, that is Nigama, the Vedic tradition, which is meant for those who are members of Devi Varnashram. And Agama means, Agamayati means to come. So those literature which comes from Nigama is called Agama Shastra, also known as Tantra Shastra. So Tantra Shastra is our deity worship which we use in Krishna service. But Nigama is especially Vedic literature, which is Shruti. It is heard in disciplic succession. So all kinds of knowledge is there in Vedic literature, but now in Srimad Bhagavatam is given in the context of Mahabhagavatas, how great personalities in the history have used different kinds of knowledge for the pleasure of Krishna. And therefore in Srimad Bhagavatam we literally see all kinds of knowledge. Srila Prabhupada said, Vidya Bhagavatavadi. By learning Srimad Bhagavatam, you will learn all kinds of knowledge and finally you will get Krishna. So what kind of knowledge is there in Srimad Bhagavatam? These prayers of demigods to Brahma are there to glorify Lord Brahma as the source of Vedic knowledge in material world. So what kind of knowledge is there? And in general there is 14 books of Vedic knowledge, Chaturdasha Vidyastan, Chaturveda, Shatvedanga and Chaturupanga, so all together 464 is 14. So different branches of knowledge are there and all of them get the conclusion in Bhagavad Siddhanta. So for example in first canto we see the purport on Mahabharata. Mahabharata Tatparya Nirnaya, Garuda Purana is saying Mahabharata Tatparya Nirnaya. Tatparya is the purport. Nirnaya means explanation. So what was not described in Mahabharata, the intimate relationship between Pandavas and Krishna, now is explained in first canto. And we see how is the Krishna taking care of Maharaj Parikshit as a well-wisher, and the how he takes care of the Pandavas, etc., and how they worship Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead at the coronation of Rajasuya ceremony. Then in 9th canto we see another epic, Ramayana, in the context of bringing us closer to 10th canto, the relishment of Krishna's pastimes with Vrajavasis. So the separation of Lord Ramachandra from Sita is forceful separation, but we hear that he didn't like this forceful separation, and therefore in his form as Krishna, he is relishing the separation of Srimati Radharani, the Vipralamba Seva. So Ramayana over there also have very specific purpose for Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And further we find Manu Samhita in 6th canto. We find Vedic Suktas. In 2nd canto is Narayana Sukta. 5th chapter, 6th chapter is Purusha Sukta. So Vedic knowledge, Nigama, directly explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. In 3rd canto we find Brahma Samhita, and we also find Varaha Purana. And this is what we are hearing nowadays from Srimad Bhagavatam, Varaha Purana. We also find Bhagavad Gita in Srimad Bhagavatam, complete. Who would say where is Bhagavad Gita in Srimad Bhagavatam? I'm sure Swarna Prabhu knows. Yes, Archita Prabhu? Yeah, it's same knowledge, Krishna repeating to Uddhava in more chapters and more elaborate, more detailed, but same knowledge. We find also Shri Ishopanishad in Srimad Bhagavatam. There is even verses are almost same. Instead of Ishavasyamidam Sarvam, we have Atmavasyamidam Sarvam, etc. So Srimad Bhagavatam is full of Vedic knowledge, but from the perspective of Mahabhagavatas, because Srila Vyasadeva compiled first Puranas, then Mahabharata, and then he was dissatisfied. And then his guru, Narad Muni, is coming and correcting him that he didn't describe directly the glories and the pastimes of Supreme Personality of Godhead Shri Krishna with his devotees. So then he is, by the instruction of his guru, he is meditating and doing the re-edition, second BBT edition of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Because it's confusing, sometimes it's said that Mahabharata is compiled after Puranas. No, but then why was Srila Vyasadeva dissatisfied with compiling Mahabharata after the Puranas? So the understanding in the fifth chapter of Bhagavatam is that he did re-edition. So sometime Vedic literature is specifying how many verses are there in the Puranas on the end of the text. And we see that verses which are described in some Puranas doesn't fit this Bhagavatam which we have. This Bhagavatam have more verses. And these are the verses which are introduced by Srila Vyasadeva after re-edition. He have explained more from the point of rasa and bhava bhakti. So this is what Lord Chaitanya came to give and what Srila Vyasadeva gave. Therefore we are Bhagavat Sampradaya, Shiksha Sampradaya, which is giving spontaneous devotional service. And among all followers of Lord Chaitanya, one is very unique and glorified all over the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and that is Srila Rupa Goswami, because he understood the innermost desire of Lord Chaitanya. And through him we understand Srimad Bhagavatam as it is. It is said in Chaitanya Charitamrita, just like in the beginning of creation, Lord Krishna have empowered with transcendental potency the heart of Brahma to understand and creation and create finally. In the same way he have impregnated the heart of Rupa Goswami with spiritual potency. By this potency, Srila Rupa Goswami could revive the activities of Krishna in Vrindavan, activities almost lost to memory. In this way, he spread Krishna consciousness throughout the world. Vrindavaniyam rasakeli vartam kalena luptam nija shaktim utkaham sancharya rupe vyatanut punassa prabhur vidhau prak ivaloka srishtim. So, Vrindavaniyam rasakeli vartam. Rasakeli is the plays or the games of Vrindavan. Bakalena Lupta means they are hidden by time. Lupta Tirtha means the hidden Tirtha which is not observed by the people of the world. So Nija Shakti Utkaha, by the personal Shakti he have risen, that understanding in the heart of Rupa Goswami. Sanchariya Rupe, he have empowered by that Shakti, Srila Rupa Goswami. Punasa Prabhu Vidau Praksa Ivaloka Srishtim. Prabhu here means the Lord Brahma. So Srila Rupa Goswami then, by the potency of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, have understood his innermost desire and revealed the pastimes of Vrindavan, both to say archaeologically but also in his teachings. And we daily chant his pranama mantra because we are Rupanugas. The Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. When will Srila Rupa Goswami give me proximity to his lotus feet, the one who have understood the innermost desire of Lord Chaitanya and established the mission to fulfill that desire. So what is that innermost desire of Lord Chaitanya? It's also described in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Anarpita charim chirat karuna avatirna kalau samarpaito unatojvala rasam swabhakti shriyam haripurata sundara kadampa sandipitaha sadahridaya kandare spuratu vashachinandanaha. One of most intimate verses given by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, which is revealing the real purpose of most magnanimous avatar, Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and saying that I have not given anarpita charim chirat for very long time. Karunavatirna kalu, therefore I am appearing as the most merciful incarnation. To give samarpayitum unata ujvala rasa, the highest rasa of all, svabhakti shriyam, means the unata ujvala rasa is the madhurya rasa which is performed by gopis of Vrindavan. And that rasa reveals the bhakti, svabhakti shriyam, the treasure of bhakti towards myself. So Lord Chaitanya is coming to give the mood of gopis of Vrindavan. And he is saying personally, prema rasa niryasa korite asvadana raga marga bhakti korite loke pracharanam. I am appearing for these two reasons, to taste the mellows of love of Godhead, prema rasa niryasa korite asvadana raga marga bhakti korite loke pracharana, and preach to people loka, people of the world loka, raga marga bhakti. So then we can reflect on ourselves, but then how we are practicing raga marga bhakti, and are we eligible for raga marga bhakti? But he is saying that actually there are so many incarnations in the past, and none of them is able to give vraja bhakti, none of them is able to give raganuga sadhana bhakti. All of them are just giving vaidhi sadhana bhakti, and vaidhi sadhana bhakti cannot bring person to kevala prema of Goloka Vrindavan, can bring living being only to Mahatmya Jnana Prema, the love of Godhead in reverence of Vaikuntha. So then how we will go to pastimes of Krishna, no, if we are performing Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti? What's the use of Sadhana Bhakti, someone can ask. But we should know that Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti is preparing our heart, purifying our heart, that we meet Sajati Ashaya Snigdha Sadhu Sangha Svatovare. When we meet the person who have affection for Krishna, that our heart will be able to receive that seed of Kamala Shraddha, the pure Shraddha which that great soul is having. So we are practicing Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. We are not practicing Vaidhi Sadhana, practicing rules and regulations. We are practicing Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. The purpose of all rules and regulations is to always think about Krishna and never forget Him. So if we take this instruction, we see that whatever we follow, we should follow to remember Krishna. And that is our real occupation. So then we practice bhakti. The sadhana bhakti also have bahiranga sadhana, the external practice, and antaranga sadhana, the internal practice. So it's not enough to engage the senses, external senses, bahirkarana, in the service of Krishna, but also antarkarana, the internal senses, means the mind in Krishna's service with a desire to please Krishna. So then our Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti can bring us closer to the Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. And then only the person who really understands and practice Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti understands what is the purpose of Vaidhi. Why we are following Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti? To please Krishna in the same way as Raganuga Bhaktas. And when someone is coming to Raganuga level, he is not changing rules and regulations. The International Society for Krishna Consciousness is meant to bring us all the way till Prema Bhakti. It is a society made the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, from Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti, Bhava Bhakti, all the way to Prema Bhakti. Lord Chaitanya is saying that he have taught Rupa Goswami Krishna Tattva, Bhakti Tattva, Rasa Tattva, Rasatattva Ara, Rupa Shikala Goshanira, Bhagavad Siddhanta. He have taught him the truth about Krishna, the truth about pure devotional service, and the truth of love of Godhead. So we should not think that just by performing strictly rules and regulations we can achieve Kevala Prema of Goloka Vrindavan. We should always strive for Sadhya Bhakti, the pure devotional service as it is exhibited by residents of Vrindavan. So Lord Chaitanya especially is giving this gift to whole humanity. And as we said, the especially empowered Ishla Rupa Goswami, in his book Nataka Chandrika, he is explaining the Bhagavad Katha from the perspective of Natya Shastra, the Vedic dramaturgy. And he is saying over there that in every story there is a hero, Nayaka, and there is a villain, Pratinayaka. And in the story of Varaha Katha, the hero is Lord Varaha, he is the Nayaka. But the hero cannot come to the light of a stage to say, if there is no villain, and the villain is over there just to show the heroism of a hero. So in that way, in Varaha Katha, the hero Varaha, he is trying to save Bhudevi, and she is as his consort, she is the one with whom he is having the reunion. In that way, it's explained that the Guda Rasa, the hidden sentiment, is Madhurya Rasa. That Lord Varahadev is appearing to have relationship with Bhudevi. The Mukhya Rasa is Vira Rasa because Lord Varahadev is fighting with Hiranyaksha. And it seems as a prominent theme. The prominent theme or the Pradhana Vastu in Nataka Chandrika is explained, the scene which explains the main event in the story. But the secondary event, Angavastu, is incident which explains, for example, how some great villain have appeared and disturbed the whole situation. So therefore the 14th and 15th chapter of this canto are describing the appearance of a villain. How have Hiranyaksha appeared? First, Srila Vyasadeva described how Varahadev have appeared, but now he's showing how his great opponent Hiranyaksha have appeared. And to explain this, he's narrating the story from Brahma and how Chaturkumaras have been approaching the kingdom of Godhead and what have happened over there, how they were stopped by two doorkeepers of Vaikuntha, and how finally they were cursed by them because they didn't want to allow them to enter. So many lessons are there to be understood, but we have short time. However, the Acharyas are explaining that this description of Godhead is the final defeat of formlessness, the idea of formlessness of spiritual realm. Because we see that the living beings have equal form, same like Lord Narayan, Vaikuntha Murtimat. So there are forms in Vaikuntha which are non-different from the form of Lord Narayana. And here we see one interesting point which neither Advaita school or Dvaita school cannot explain. That there is similarity between Vishnu Tattva and Jiva Tattva. In Advaita school, they don't accept that Jiva Tattva can be transcendental, and the state of existence of living being in liberation is formlessness, and that living being will finally lose individuality. And Advaita school is saying actually that living being is separate, is not actually separate, it's separated from Vishnu, and that also doesn't satisfy, because if living being is separated from Lord Vishnu, that means that it have another origin, and it cannot, the Lord is not, there is someone else who is also have independence of the Lord. Therefore, the Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva is very nicely reconciling the two opposites by explaining that there is a unity in diversity. There is difference in oneness. And interestingly, many times we think that our school is Dvaita, but actually it's Advaita. Because in first canto we see Tattvam yaj jnanam advayam. The Tattva, the reality, is non-dual substance. So how is then, if reality is non-dual substance, how there is Jiva Tattva and Vishnu Tattva in the spiritual world? It is because, Jiva Goswami explains, because the living being is like the Vishesha, the specific characteristic of Vishnu, just like we say eternal time. The time we know that by itself is eternal, so then why there is a need for such attribute like eternal? So in the similar way, the living being is like attribute of Vishnu and is not different from him. And if there is absolute non-difference, there is no scope for love of Godhead bhakti. Because if we don't have anything in relation with someone, then there is no need for love. Just like mother and a child, they have intimate relationship, and the child in some way is non-different from the mother, and therefore there is need for love. So the body of the child is non-different from the body of mother. It's expansion of mother's body. So in that way they are non-different. However, the individuality of a child, the individuality of living being is still there, and therefore there is a possibility for interaction for bhakti. So therefore only in the Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva there is possibility for pure devotional service. And although this chapter doesn't describe pure devotional service, it teaching us how to progressively think about devotional service. Because demigods are not offering prayers in pure devotional service, Shuddha Bhakti, neither in Karma Mishra Bhakti or Jnana Mishra Bhakti. They are offering prayers in Bhakti Mishra Karma. They are specifically saying that we are not able to perform our duty. That means karma. Means they are doing nishkama karma, they are performing their duties selflessly. So they are very interested about that. But in order to perform their duty, they are approaching their father, Lord Brahma, and with submission, they are supplying, my dear Lord, our dear Lord Brahma, kindly protect us from this darkness and allow us to perform our duty. So sometime, because our tradition is about Shuddha Bhakti, we think that, you know, other Vedic traditions we don't accept, or we don't cooperate with them, we don't identify with them. The Krishna consciousness is out of Vedic system. But Srila Prabhupada was arguing with Westerners that Krishna consciousness is bona fide Vedic system. So Vaishnavism is one of the branches of Vedic knowledge. Therefore, in interaction with different groups of followers of Vedas, we should know on what level they are, and we should encourage them to continue with that, but give them the proper knowledge, proper understanding from Srimad Bhagavatam. Because we, as Bhagavad Sampradaya, we are trying to share the Vedic knowledge from Vedic perspective. So if someone is performing yoga, we should encourage him to continue with these austerities, but give the understanding of Srimad Bhagavatam, that finally samadhi means the devotional service to Krishna, and that engagement of the senses to please Krishna is the final stage of yoga. So in the same way with any other group, if someone is doing any of austerities, tapa, jnana, yoga, dharma, we should encourage him to do that as a bhakti, as offering of bhakti. Lord Chaitanya is saying, Sarva Shastra Kahe, Sarva Shastra Kahe, Bhakti Vyakyana, Tapo Jnana Dharma, Tapo Jnana Dharma Yoga Nahi Mane Ara. That all scriptures are speaking or explaining only about bhakti. All scriptures. Sarva Shastra Kahe. Explaining only bhakti. They even don't think Nahi Mane Ara about Tapo Jnana Mana Dharma. So about any austerity, yoga or dharma. Because they are progressively bringing living being closer to bhakti. Because Krishna is saying in 11th canto, if he would explain only pure devotional service, then almost no one would follow that. But by giving Vedic literature, he is putting them on progressive path of purification, and by inspiring them, by giving different benefits, Shrutipalas, like promotion to Svarga or liberation, the living beings are progressing on their path of liberation and coming closer to pure devotional service. So we should not discourage people from doing their duties. And Krishna is saying same in Gita. What can be achieved by that? So perform the duty, but try to do it with proper understanding of Sambandha Gyan, understanding of our relationship with Krishna, impurity of Abhideya Gyan, pure devotional service, and for the love of Godhead, Prema Prayojana. So with this I will thank you so much and ask if there is any question and if there is any time as well. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you for a wonderful class. I think before you take any questions, many of the devotees here don't know who you are. You take a few minutes to introduce yourself, and then you can entertain questions.
I mean, usually it's more pleasant if someone else introduces us. Swarna Prabhu, would you like to do that? Or? In other words, I'm a friend and a student of Swarna Bindu Prabhu for many years. I was in ashram in Croatia from 2008 to 2013. Then to 2013 I went to Mayapur for further education, and since that time I'm in Mayapur teaching and being librarian as well as pujari. And from time to time I try to share that mood of Lord Chaitanya from Mayapur, and not to forget it also by myself, and also remind others about that. Thank you.
Yeah, Prabhu, thank you for your very, very wonderful class. There is a lot of wonderful things that you have shared. During the last sharing of your class, you were mentioned that we should not discourage anyone who is in the path of the tapa, yoga, dana. Because ultimately, if we add basically devotional service of Krishna into that path, eventually they want to progress in their back, going back to Godhead. So what about these Abrahamic religions, that they are not in the realm of the Vedic system, they are outside. So should we do the same, encourage them, or should we try to convert them into any of the Vedic path? So what would be your view in this?
Yeah. I'll tell you honestly, from my reading and my understanding, I will have slightly different understanding than most of the devotees, but I'll anyway tell it. It's my understanding, but it's from Srila Prabhupada's books. Srila Prabhupada have very clearly in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita differentiate between Sanatana Dharma and religion, because saying that Sanatana Dharma is the nature, eternal nature of the living being, and religion having beginning and the end. So the Dharma is different from religion in that way. And Srila Prabhupada gives another statement where he is saying that there are no differences between religion because they speak about God. In that way there is no difference, but they speak about God. But in their rules and regulations, they have different opinions, and we accept that to the degree they follow Vedic path. So the difference in Sanatana Dharma and different religious traditions is that Sanatana Dharma is knowledge-based system, like Buddhism as well, and Jainism as well, but Abrahamic traditions are belief-based systems. So in belief-based system, you look for salvation by to say causeless mercy of prophet. But Rishi and Muni are not prophets, because prophet can be person who doesn't have qualification of greatly elevated personality. It can be just revelation by, it's God's grace. But Rishi, the specific characteristics are described and qualities of the Rishi. So Vedic knowledge is not prophetic. It's very scientific. So in preaching to people, we should understand what means preaching, first of all. Lord Chaitanya is using this word prachara, but prachara doesn't mean literally preaching. Prachara means to share your experience of Krishna consciousness. You cannot stop yourself. You taste this, and you don't want to convert anyone into any other religion. You're not converter. You're not doing coercion. You're not doing proselytism. You don't want to make another person the member of any other religious institution. You don't want to make any other person member of any organization, because the Srila Prabhupada is saying that the purpose of International Society for Krishna Consciousness is to give Krishna consciousness to people, not to make them member of institution. So, however, that doesn't mean that we are not loyal to tradition, we are not loyal to ISKCON, but within we act Brahminically. And so with other people, if they have belief-based system, I don't discuss with them. Honestly, I'm not a believer, I'm a scientist, and I'm trying to follow science with culture. So that's my approach, I just think like that. And I see that from Srila Prabhupada's books, that if someone, I can say my dogma, you can say your dogma, and then you have ecumenic discussion. But Vedas don't do that. Our tradition, Bhagavad Darshan, is especially Vedanta Darshan. Among Shat Darshanas, 6 schools of Vedic knowledge, we are Vedanta Darshan. Achintya Veda Veda Tattva is Vedanta Darshan. So in Darshanas, we do discussion about the Veda, about the knowledge. So if they want to discuss based on knowledge and learn, then I'm ready to discuss. Because I'm also ready to question my own tradition. Interestingly, this verse today speaks about the control of the senses and mind. So if you want to learn, you need to control your mind. Means your beliefs, your doubts, your misgivings, your impressions. You need to control the mind. And so from the position of neutrality, you need to discuss. Otherwise, you're always biased. And then you become, we can create Krishna consciousness as a faith system as well, as a belief system. Oh, my guru said, Shastra said, but that's not the system. The system is that you have some Banda knowledge, you have a Videya, you apply, and then you have a realization, Prayojana Gyan. So it's not that one day someone will come and touch you with a magic stick and then you will be in heaven. Things doesn't work like that. So knowledge-based system, sadhana bhakti, applied knowledge, that is how I deal with this. Did this answer your question? You have any other thing on your mind? No? Yeah. Why I'm saying this? Because sometimes we go to endless discussions with them and there is no help to them or to us. Because it's just dogma. And in that way, when we do this religious cultural appropriation of Krishna consciousness into Western tradition, then we lose scientificness of Krishna consciousness. Because we want to make us closer to them. There are some leaders of Vedic traditions from India who spoiled Hinduism in that way. New Hinduism is spoiled because of them, unfortunately, because they just wanted to appease masses. So I would say the discussion, scientific philosophical discussion, is better than ecumenical talk. Ecumenical talk is just to appease our, sentiments, religious sentiment. It never goes to they never discuss about God, and finally they do that as a fundraising for their projects. So honestly, I don't like that. And do we have time? I think we don't have time for any other question or some. Brigupati Prabhu, we can maybe shortly. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I really like the point where you're speaking how pure devotional service is only possible with Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. This question I wanted to ask, with Dvaita, the school of Dvaita, and what's the highest level of attainment possible in the school of Dvaita, pure dualism?
Lord Chaitanya discussed with them, Tattvavadis, the so-called followers of, Srila Prabhupada says, so-called followers of Madhvacharya, because as per our understanding, these Tattvavadis, they didn't understand Madhvacharya, and Lord Chaitanya asked them, what is the goal of, final goal of Vedas, and they said mukti, liberation, and he asked them what is the meaning, they said varnashram. So for us, that is not the final goal and is not the main. Lord Chaitanya said, but you see, you forgot. The final goal is prema prayojana, and liberation is not the goal. Prema is above prayojana, above mukti, no? And varnashram, executing everything perfectly, is not the mean. It will not bring you pure devotional service. Just by varnashram duties, you can achieve nishkama karma and liberation, but you cannot achieve prema. That's the difference. Dvaita school. But Madhvacharya, he have given, this is a very long topic. Madhvacharya have given bhakti, and there was one book whose name I forgot, is speaking about pure devotional service after Madhvacharya. And then Madhavendra Puri, quoting from this verse, from this book, one verse, speaking about the sentiments of Radharani. That's wonderful. He Dina Dayardranata. That's one of the foundational verses of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. He Dina Dayardranata Mathura Avalokshase. Oh, the friend of fallen. Radharani is praying like that. Anyway, thank you so much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.